It's not normal. I don't know how much you know about Terry, but anyways, she's involved in this. We know that. She's acknowledged this. We know that. She's already confessed and apologized to this. Been there, done that. So there's no real surprises here. Okay. The only issue is how did this spin out of control? What's your side of it? Because I mean, we already know hers. But what's your side of it? And that's what I'm here to sit with you and talk to you about. Because I wasn't the person that talked to Terry. The other officers did. I volunteered here to come here and shoot the shit with you because I've talked to people in worse situations than you. Okay. And like I say, you've been pretty respectful with me. You're not giving me a hard time. You're not being rude to me. So I'll sit with you because. But you know, the reality of it is I can walk away and you're going to sit and deal with this on your own for the rest of your life, okay? I'm here to tell you that I'm pointing out some obvious things to you. All I've really done is point out common sense and put some experiences I've had in behavioral sciences, but the reality of it is we both know people think the worst until they know, and we both know that someone to fly on the radar for 28 years and then be involved in something like this, something's caused it, okay? So all I've really done is point out the obvious to you, all right? You're a smart guy. You're nobody's fool. You know the situation. You know you're in a tough spot. But there's a lot of things here that we just can't sit and ignore. Okay, and you just sit and say, "Wow, it didn't really happen." We're just too far past that. It's unrealistic. Okay, maybe a month or so ago when the investigation was new, you might be able to pull that, but you can't now. It's just all you're doing is hurting your own credibility. And again, this is your opportunity to say your piece, but you got some pretty serious explaining to do here, okay? In the big picture. Now, without me, if I just leave you here, you got some stuff that you need to explain. I don't have to explain it. You do. Okay, I've already told you what my opinion is, and my opinion is something caused you to do this. Okay? Because there's little things. If I just say a sentence or a word, right, I can make this thing seem a lot worse than it is, right? I could just sit here and say, you know what, Mike, I said, I'm going to leave here. You can spend the next little while figuring out how you're going to explain the purchase of garbage bags. Okay, well, you have this kid with you. I can explain that, okay? I can explain it because I've been around this type of stuff. How are you going to do it on your own, okay? I've acknowledged already what my thoughts are of you, okay? I've told you that from the beginning, that this is out of character for you, okay? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's why you don't want to talk. Because maybe you're thinking, you know what, Chris, you're wrong. Maybe I've done this before. Maybe I plan on doing it again, all right? I don't think that. But, I mean, you could be sitting here playing me, right? But how would I know, okay? I can tell you that I don't think that's the case because I've sat across from a lot of people, again, that have been through stuff a lot worse than you. You made a mistake, man. You deal with it and we move on. Here's what happened. I'm not saying for a second that you sat and watched a bunch of pornography and that's what pushed you to do this. That's not what I'm saying at all. All I'm doing is I'm drawing a comparison to another case that I was involved in that was very similar, okay? But then you in fact helped me by pointing out that you don't even know who these people are because nobody became insignificant in the end because the person who did it was honest about it, said what happened, and I actually apologized and then offered tips to parents to safeguard their children. I'm not asking you to do that unless you want it. I'm not asking you to do anything you don't want to do, but I am asking you to be truthful. That's the only thing I'm asking of you, okay? Because the truth is the only thing you have at this point. Your credibility, Mike, is all you have left, okay? You sit here 2-3 years from now and say, okay, I got a story, I'd like people to listen. Who's going to listen and why would they listen, okay? You don't have the credibility once all the versions are out there and the evidence is all out there. And oh, geez, I see what the evidence is now. Now I can make my story match the evidence. Nobody cares, right? Because you have no credibility. At this stage here, you have credibility because you can acknowledge your side and acknowledge what happened, and then you can move on from there, all right? And that's the first piece. It's the same I told you earlier. If someone has a drinking problem, is to acknowledge it and move on, okay? Here's what happened. I'm sorry. And I moved on. And if you're not comfortable with apologizing, maybe not everybody is comfortable saying they're sorry or admitting they made a mistake, that's fine. I'm not going to ask you to do something that you're not comfortable with. However, I am concerned that you're just going to sit here and, oh, well, we take a chance. Maybe I'll just leave it and it'll all work itself out. Well past that, Mike. This is not going to work itself itself out, okay? We're past that. You need to acknowledge what's caused you to do this, okay? If it's because you're loaded up on Oxys and it seemed like a good idea at the time, then maybe we better talk about that, okay? Because it appears to me that half of Woodstock is on Oxys based on what I've seen from this investigation. So if you're part of the norm in this town and you made a series of bad decisions because of it, then we better talk about it. And people will be an awful lot more sympathetic to that than you just sitting there saying nothing, okay? Because there's a very large percentage of people in this town that are on Oxys, okay? And in the big picture, that will become part of an inquiry as well as to why is it it's so easy to get Oxys in this town, and why are there so many people? Because percentage-wise, I travel all over Canada, all right? I'm based in the headquarters, and really I travel all over Canada for different cases. I've never seen Oxy like this in my life, okay? And other seasoned investigators have come on this case have never seen Oxy like this in their lives. There's a problem with Oxy in this town, okay? Very much so, okay? So we can't change that. So if you've had too many Oxys, you've been strung on them too long, then that's fine, okay? And I can tell you all kinds of stories of people that are addicted to it, okay? Sometimes it's people that are using it for recreation, for a different type of high, different type of drug. But often it's hard-working people that get an injury or get in a car accident and they get addicted to them, right? That happens, okay, for the pain. But it's highly addictive, right? I think if you review the stats, you'll find that people who are on it will tell you it's more addictive than cigarettes, it's more addictive than alcohol, all right? So if you've been strung out on Oxys for a period of a couple months, and then you made a bad decision, and all of a sudden at the time it seemed good, like it's like when you're drunk and you pick up a girl, that was a great idea, right? So you figure out later she was married, or a stalker, I've had that, and you realize that was a bad decision, okay? That's all this is, okay? Mike is a bit of abuse of Oxys, then you and I should talk about that now, all right? Because it's going to be easier for you and I to explain that to this community than anything else, all right? Because the percentages, you know how many people are on Oxys around here, right? The police know how many people are on Oxys. They had a rough idea before. They can tell you who has Oxys, right? And they can tell you who's supplying them, right? Just through this investigation. So the Oxy issue will dry itself up. But there's also a very good chance that there's going to be a separate public inquiry into the OxyContin use. Who's prescribing this shit? How come there's so much of it on the street? All right? And how can somebody go pick up a prescription for an injured mother or father or relative and just be given these Oxys, right? And how many of these Oxys actually make it to the person that they're prescribed to? So there's an outlying issue here, okay? There's a secondary issue with Oxys in this town. And if that's what this is, and you had too many Oxys, and you made a series of bad decisions, then why don't you and I talk about that? Because we can already show that the victim's parents are using Oxys, right? They've admitted that themselves, right? So who are they to judge you, all right, when you're doing the same thing they are? And maybe they're doing it more, all right? I'm prepared to sit and listen that you didn't brainstorm all this stuff and that this got out of control, like I am, or I wouldn't be here, okay? I am prepared to listen to that, okay? But you have to also acknowledge that there's a problem, okay? And it's just like drinking. If you're an alcoholic, the worst part of that is you're out driving a car, right? And that's one of the worst things with alcoholics, is the drunk driving. But you have to acknowledge it and move on. But you're no different than a large percentage of people in this town, okay? And however you got hooked on them, whether it was through recreation, or it was fun, or it was a source of income, then that's fine, okay? Because when you sit back, and I'm quite a bit older than you, and you go back when I was in high school, if someone dealt a hard drug, they got many years in jail. They got years in jail, minimum 5 years to deal drugs. When have you ever heard of anyone getting 5 years in jail for anything, right? They don't. So drug use, there's more drug traffickers out there now than there's ever been. And if one gets arrested for drug trafficking, 2 or 3 pick up that person's clientele and expand. So if that's all this is a series of poor decisions through the use of OxyContins, then why aren't you and I talking about that, right? That's what you and I need to talk about. If this is OxyContins, and I've sat here and discussed how people want to draw parallels to Paul Bernard or some kind of monster, that's not right, okay? But only you and I can get to that, Mike, okay? Only you and I can get there. Because if that's all this is the abuse of OxyContins to the point that it messed your head up and you grabbed this kid, then we better talk about that. Because maybe there's a panic after you grab the kid. Well, the kid was put in your car, all right, by Terry. So if you didn't grab her yourself, that's fine. You certainly drove with that kid in your car, okay? That's the issue, and you're on video doing it, okay? So if you didn't grab her yourself, that's fine, okay? I can live with that. But what we have to do is explain what happened after the kid was in your car. And I'm willing to sit and do that with you, okay? Because your credibility is all you're going to have left. And this might be the only logical explanation, is drug use, right? Drug abuse. You're not the creator of OxyContin, you're not the first person to use it, and you're not going to be the last. However, it will dry up in this community in the near future as a result of this. But, and I never said for a second that you went and took that kid from the school, because you didn't. But that kid was taken from that school, all right, by Terry, and put in your car, okay? And you were there, and you were part of when the kid was driven to Guelph, okay, in the Home Depot. And then from there, the kid, into the demise of the kid. But this is the stuff we need to explain, okay? This is the stuff we need to acknowledge. I need you to be like you were, Mike, when I first came in. And you clarified, because it was me that screwed up. I was the one that said break into a car, because it was my terminology. You need to be the one that corrects me, okay? And you need to be the one that said, like I said that you're involved in this abduction. Well, you know what, maybe I better be a little more clear with my words. Terry grabbed that kid from the school, okay? We know that. For a number of ways. There's a whole host of issues. Plus the fact, she matches the cops and she's on the video, and it's later determined to be her, and then she actually subsequently admits to it anyways. But there's all kinds of evidence of that. And your car was on that video at the time. It's a unique car, right? It's a nice looking car. It's got a unique spoiler on it, and it grabbed the attention of the video camera. There's no question. I mean, your car's nicer than mine. My car wouldn't be on there. But that's reality. These are the things that you need to talk about to get your side out now. Because 2 years, no one's going to give a rat's ass. No one's going to give a shit, right? 2 years from now. Because, you know what, Mike had his chance and he didn't say anything. Nobody can control your destiny now but you, okay? I can. I mean, I've already told you. I've already put my cards on the table. I'm already going to walk out of there and say, I've spent my time with Mike, and I don't think he's a monster. I don't think he's going to kill 2 or 3 people in his life. Okay, I'm a threat assessor. That's what I do. I work in behavioral sciences. My job is supposed to be to determine the future. What's Mike's threat when he leaves here? Mike's had his opportunity to say his piece, okay? And he's choosing not to say it. But at the same time, you've also been polite and enough, and I don't know what the other one. Polite, and you've been able to point out if I don't word something. I have no issue with that. In fact, I'm rather glad you did, because it shows that you're paying attention and you understand. I want you to take this serious. I don't want you to think that this is all going to go away, because it won't. And you have to acknowledge that. You have to know that. You're smart enough to know this isn't just going to go away. Right? You can't just wake up tomorrow and pretend it didn't happen. But what you need to be comfortable with is tell the truth about what your role is, how this thing spun out of control like it did, and how a guy who's flown under the radar for 28 years ends up in this situation with all this overwhelming evidence implicating him to this crime. Okay? That's the issue. Again, I don't think that, I told you that, I don't think you're some kind of monster, but we've gotten off the rails here. Somehow you got off the rails and got yourself into this thing. Okay? And if it wasn't your idea, then I wouldn't mind hearing that as well. Okay? But it's got to be your words, Mike, not mine. Okay? You don't need me to draw you a map or draw a little story of what happened from the time that she's picked up to the time that she's gone. I don't have to do that. The evidence is going to do that. But if that's all this is because of the Oxys and nothing else, then why don't we talk about that? I've talked a lot about, is it the Oxys? Is that what the problem is here? Is this what's caused you from being involved in this?
Taking Oxys.
What's that?
Taking Oxys?
Yeah, I know you've taken Oxys, yeah. So that's what's caused you to make this bad decision, or is this what caused this poor decision to be made, or where it's spun out of control? That's what I'm asking you there. If it's the Oxys, then that's what we deal with. Like I said, there's a large percentage of people in this town that are on Oxys. When I went out to get these coffees, there was 2 standing in front of Tim Hortons. I would almost, if they weren't on Oxys, they were on something, all right? There's a lot of zombies in this town. There's a lot of people that are abusing this drug, okay? And if that's what it is, and you joined a large population of this town using Oxys, and you made a bad decision, that's reality. Because these people that are taking the Oxys make bad decisions every day. They lie every day. They manipulate every day, right? That's because that's how they get the drug to begin with sometimes. They may have bills they haven't paid. They may have drug debts that they owe. They may have to fly under the radar for a little while and keep a low profile because they owe money. But
the only reason I'm sitting here is because I got involved with bad people.
yes, I agree with that. Probably worst people you've ever imagined in your life. All right? Yes, you did. Yeah, you did. I don't know if you know how many of them that were bad or just how bad were they. I don't know at what stage you knew they were bad. But I'm gonna ask you a question. I'd like you to answer it. It's not gonna implicate you in anything. Did you have any idea how bad these people were? No. Do you think you do now, or was there a point when you caught on how bad, or actually you don't have to answer that? But you know what I mean? You've got in with some tough people. All right, I know that. Why do you think I've been sitting here going on, like, you know, you're flying under the radar and stuff, okay? Because this isn't you, all right? If you're one of these bad people, would we not know that? Would we not have a great big sheet of issues with you, of incidents, right? Of perhaps violent crime,